Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Tuesday. Kind of a little off myself because I just came back from a few days up in New Hampshire. Now I'm getting back into the groove of the swing of things. I have to go into work today. I just want to show you real quick. This is a pretty large storm from the standpoint of the geography that it's affecting. But in terms of any kind of extreme weather, there really isn't a whole lot happening at this point, except on either end. So you've got winter storm warnings up for the western half of the Dakotas and particularly the western half of North Dakota and northwestern South Dakota, with winter weather advisories everywhere else. Also on the Montana side as well, we have some winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. And then you have to go all the way to the other side where you have a freezing rain advisory up for parts of eastern Vermont, and you have some winter weather advisories up for northern New Hampshire and Maine, into Maine, although it's already changed to rain in the southern areas where the winter weather advisory is up anyhow. So what we have is a very large upper air circular storm. You can see it here, and the circulation of that storm actually covers about 2/3 of the United States. So you're getting this this huge rotation, and the first round of rain is swinging up right here, and there's an arm of moisture that comes up over the top. So you can just follow the rotation here, and this is coming up, and that's going to move through and out. Then we're going to get a bit of a break, and you can already start to see moisture developing down along the Gulf Coast. And there's another lobe of energy that's rotating around the upper low. You can kind of pick it out here. That's going to pick this up, and that's going to be the second round of rain that's going to come through here for Wednesday and Wednesday night. So it's between those two rounds of rain that we're going to see some pretty decent rainfall amounts for the first time in a long time, that we're having a situation where it actually rains back to back. So here it is on the surface map on the new GFS model run, which is out now to day 8. And there's the first round of rain. You get this break as a little low forms in the Gulf of Maine and moves out. By the way, you can see there's some snow in northern Maine and on up into New Brunswick and parts of Nova Scotia. You can see the snow that's back through the Dakotas as this primary low begins to weaken and move to the east. And then you have that second wave that develops, and there's the rain with this that gets into the Tennessee Valley, and low pressure, this low, the low that's up in the Dakotas, dies out, and a new low forms in Ohio on Wednesday, and that brings with it another solid area of rain, and maybe even some thunderstorms down into the Carolinas, into where the fires are. So this is at least some good news that there'll be at least some rain with that. And then that moves out, and we just kind of turn colder and drier going into Friday. But you can already see the next weather system starting to try and develop in the Gulf states. Now, the models are a little different on how they handle this, whereas the European brings it out faster. The GFS is about a day slower. Today's run of the GFS is a little bit faster, but still doesn't bring in anything in here until Tuesday. And you can see it's got weak low pressure moving up into southern Ohio. And there's kind of a little front here, a little warm front, where probably some kind of wave is going to redevelop on the coast. And it does produce a decent amount of rain for the Carolinas. So this could be 2 in a row for them, and also 2 in a row for the Northeast, as this lifts on up. And now we have another system that's forming down in Colorado around the same time, and this produces some snows there to Colorado, Nebraska, and parts of South Dakota, while this first low moves on out, and then that one moves eastward. So you can see we have a very, very active pattern that's underway. Now, I want to caution those of you who posted us some comments yesterday with regards to the European, and this is another example of the fact that where the European created a major storm for several runs, now it's backed off on the pressures. It showed some kind of big snowstorm in the Midwest for early next week. The model, we haven't seen the new European, but the overnight European backed away from that. So, we have to be really cautious going forward with the European model, in that it seems to want to do this in the long range sometimes, where it makes a big storm and it does not wind up happening. And we'll see what happens. The GFS has actually, this is a pretty sizable low for later next week that runs up and brings some big snows into Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, eastern Nebraska, and up through Wisconsin. And this is going to be another probable rain event for the east, which is great because we're going to really start chipping away at the drought. And by the way, here comes another strong system inland into the Pacific Northwest. So it's a very active pattern as we go into December. The question is whether it's going to wind up being a colder pattern over time. And we'll put the upper air here and we'll take a look. I'll get to the wider view. Now we're not going to have out far enough here, so we're just going to have out to about day 8 or 9, and you can see with the jet stream, there still has this pretty active southern stream in the Pacific, higher pressures up to the north in Canada that reflects the North Atlantic oscillation and the blocking pattern that's set up. So this is going to continue to feed storm after storm after storm, but there's still not a good channel of cold air that's setting up at least through the first part of December. So, it doesn't look to me at this point, the cold part of the equation is having a much tougher time getting established. The stormy part of the equation seems to have got itself established, and I honestly thought it would have been the other way around. But, we're looking here at day 9, and, you've got this trough, then you've got ridge. Let me just get it just so you can highlight it in a slightly different color. I'll do it in purple. So you got ridge, trough in the middle, ridges on both coasts. You still got this amorphous mess up here in terms of the overall flow. So it's tough to get it cold. I mean, it can get cold if you get a strong cyclone to develop nearby and funnel down some cold air. But, in terms of like true polar or Arctic air, that's going to be tough to do. And just going to finish off with the temperature anomalies, and you can see what's happening here with the trough in the west, at least initially. We've got, this is for the end of this week, so we go a little bit below normal over the weekend here in the east, but you can see this growing area of below normal conditions in the west, while it stays mostly above normal in the east, because that's because the GFS wants to establish the trough out in the west with a ridge in the east. These are temporary features and also different from what we had because we are getting storms moving along here over time. So that's where it is different. So let's go forward and see what this is all going to bring us over the next week to 10 days. It's always an adventure. Don't forget to check out the website, meteorologistjoechaffee.com. And also, if you want, download my app and subscribe to my forecasts. They are just 99 cents a month. I have forecasts for the New York City, Long Island, northern New Jersey area, also for central and South Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania, and also for Connecticut and for the Hudson Valley. So it's an easy way. You get an ad-free experience, and you'll get more specific forecasts and it only costs you $1 a month, and it helps me out nicely in trying to keep all this stuff going. So anyway, have a great day. Be safe out there in the rain, and keep your fingers crossed that we wind up with that solid 2 to 4 inches here in the Northeast so that we could really put a dent in the drought.